Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Zodiac. Today we're going to be talking about the month of Adar. Now the month of Adar is probably the most auspicious month of the entire year. It says anybody that's born on the month of Adar has no evil eye that wards over them. It says that the month itself is Mazalo Bari. It's a very positive month to go ahead and to do things, to start new things, etc. We're going to get into the depth of what the month of Adar is all about, and we're going to, as usual, start off with what the Sefirot tells us about the month of Adar. So the month itself, the permutation of the month is the godly permutation is Hey, Hey, Yud, and Vav. So as we know, every single month there's a different permutation of God's four-letter name, the tetragrammaton, the Yud K Vav K. And this month it's the Hey, and then the Hey, and then the Yud, and the Vav. The tribe of the month is the tribe of Naftali. The tribe of Naftali. The letter of the month is the letter Kuf, which is very interesting because we spoke about the letter Kuf in depth in Bati Lagani. That letter Kuf is technically more of a negative letter, and we'll see how that plays with the theme of the month. The body part of the month is the spleen. Very interesting what the spleen does in the body, the functions of the spleen. How does it relate to Adar? We're going to take a look at that. The sense of the month is the sense of laughter. That's the sense. So even though it's not one of the senses which we ascribe to being one of the five senses, but there's a sense of laughter, of tzchok. We're going to talk about that. The sign of the month is the sign of Pisces, of fish, Mazal Dagim. It's the month of fish. Now, so let's jump right into what the Talmud says about the month itself. So in Tractate Beitza, it says as follows. It says anybody, now the Talmud gives us a very interesting piece of advice. Anybody that wants to make sure that their properties, that their investments have a prolonged life to them, that they'll be successful, what they should do is that they should plant an Adar. What's an Adar? So an Adar seems to be a tree. You should plant an Adar. Now, Adar isn't found in the various writings and scriptures as being a tree, but obviously if you're planting it, it must be a tree. Now this Talmud, begs a lot of questions. Basically, what does that mean? You should plant an Adar. So the commentaries explain, more of the deeper commentaries explain, there's a book called the B'nai Yissaschar, who is a Kabbalistic, of Kabbalistic origin. He explains the Talmud as follows. He says that Adar means the recognition that whatever a person does is not their own doing. Now, whatever a person, as hard as a person may strive at in doing all the things that he does, in investing, whatever they invest, they should recognize that the first thing that they need to do to preserve that investment is that they have to be in the right state of mind. And how are you in the right state of mind? You're in the right state of mind if you plant an Adar, meaning you are at one with the theme, with the idea of what Adar is. And he explains that Adar is God's essence that's found within nature. And that brings us to this, to the third point, and we're going to tie in these 2 points together more in depth. That basically, the way God conducts the world is that there's room for an above nature experience, and those are miracles that defy nature, that break nature, and those are kind of like the miracles that we saw coming out of Egypt, the splitting of the Red Sea, etc. All those amazing miracles that defy nature. And then we have miracles that are within nature. Now, to understand the difference between the two, we have to understand actually the essence of what a miracle is. So in the philosophical books, going back to the Spanish philosophers, that they explain that there is actually no difference between a miracle and nature. It's just that we take for granted nature, and we think that nature is nature because the sun rises, the sun sets, we've got the seasons, and we've got the basic things that we take for granted, and that is nature. But what we don't realize is that nature itself is a miracle. But we don't see that. For us, we call it just nature. So they explain that the difference between above nature and nature is all the ability to discern that nature itself is also a miracle. And that's much harder to do. And Hasidus explains that actually miracles that are within nature come from a higher origin, because they're hidden, they're not conspicuous, they're not obvious. Anybody could see a miracle which defies nature, breaks nature. It's just like obvious, no question about that. There was a miracle done over here, and we all wonder, where's the miracles? Where's this happening, that happening? And we fail to see that actually God is working at all times and is causing all these things to occur at all times, but they're just within nature. And that brings us back to that Talmudic passage that anybody that wants to be successful, that wants to see their investments be prolonged, what they should do is that they should plant an Adar. In other words, they should recognize that God conducts himself within nature. That recognition that God is really like in the words of the Bnei Yisrael, God is the mashgiach, God oversees, overlooks everything, and they're just like a caretaker of some sort. In other words, and basically that means that they have this reliance, what we call in Hebrew bitachon. They have this ability to basically let go and to recognize that whatever we do is just secondary to the initial planting, and the planting is not on a physical level, it's planting in our consciousness, to recognize that nature is not just nature, but nature is really above nature. And that gives us an amazing amount of joy, of simcha. Now, there is no greater joy than dispelling doubt. And that is a Talmudic passage as well, that ein simcha k'atar sefirot. There is no greater joy than dispelling doubt. We know that when a person is in doubt, so then they're not happy. Depressed, a person is foggy in their mind because they don't understand why things happen, why things occur. And they can't make sense of the world around them. And when does a person have joy? And we're talking about what kind of joy. We're talking about the level of joy like we're speaking about over here, level of laughter, level of schok. When does a person have laughter? So really, what is laughter? What is joy? It's true joy, laughter. Laughter is something that is not expected to happen. And then you recognize that it happened. Like the classic, those classic spoofs that somebody walks and slips on a banana peel. Like, we don't want to laugh at such a thing, but it's just such an unexpected thing. And silly comedians do it all the time. They pull those things, they have a serious face, but then they do something extremely comical, and what that does, it draws a response from us to just think like, wow, how did that happen? And you just laugh. And that causes laughter. So too, in the world around us, what is the ultimate level of laughter, of real joy? It's when we don't expect the world to really elicit that from us, and we would never expect that there is a hand that is within nature at all times. There is this hidden what we said before, mashgiach, right? The hand of God that is at all times conducting everything.